Good evening, beautiful and talented women. I'm so honoured to be able to speak this evening alongside some incredible women here. And I love that here in this room we have mothers, aunties, sisters, wives represented here, professional students, stay-at-home mums, and you've chosen to take a moment to do something for yourself. You've zhuzhed up, you've put on a beautiful dress or outfit, you've done your hair and makeup, and put on some heels maybe, and how good does it feel? And I love this theme scripture. Thank you, Keira, for sharing it again. She is strong, respected, not afraid of the future. And today I want to share a little bit about having hope in your future. So my name is Keira, if you didn't hear. I'm 31, married to the love of my life, Lennox, my husband, and have two beautiful boys, Levi and Micah, aged 6 and 4. By profession, I've studied exercise science, physiology, and clinical rehab. I run my own business and rehabilitation office, which I've had for 17 years, and the past 6 years helping my husband with his time planning company. I love volunteering in charity and health promotion projects and advocating for people who don't have access to basic education and healthcare. I love cooking and feeding people, so that's my Italian side, and I love getting to know people. And I have the best job. I'm privileged in my work that while I'm massaging people, stretching, or doing exercise therapy with my patients, I get to know some beautiful people, and 3 of which are here. And I love that during the times, especially during COVID, I was able to help people by being someone that they could hear, being someone they could listen to when they were going through loneliness. And people needed to talk. And I get to listen to some really incredible stories, hear about people's passions, traumas, triumphs, and I get to physically but also spiritually and emotionally help them through their pain and their injuries, but also learn so much about myself as well. And so I love helping and serving people, but it can often mean that I'm tempted to put myself last. And I'm sure that there are some women in this room that can relate. And that's why I'm so proud of you being here, because you've taken the time to pause in your busyness. And when we're mindful and allow ourselves the privilege of pausing, we can make life-altering decisions that can change the outcome of our future. So, is there anyone in this room that can relate to the following statements? I have to take my phone to the bathroom with me because I'm too anxious or bored without it. I miss eating meals or sleep as I've got too much on. I have a heap of saved reels, screenshots, videos of inspiration of the ideal body, makeup hacks, training, motivation, yet I'm actually too busy to look at them ever again. Anyone have that? Okay, maybe just me. I have trouble asking for help. I feel the need to hustle for my financial future. I have a profound fear of letting people down. I have body pain that I can't get round to dealing with. I take on more things that I know that I don't have time for. I'm in a cycle I can't break, and it's just what I need to do right now. In my job, I love that I get insight into how everything in our body is connected. Our senses, our movements, our mind-muscle connection, just to name a few. And a lot of our connections begin in a tiny little place in our brain called the hypothalamus. And this region, its primary role is to figure out, are we safe? And so it's really cool because I learnt this in university, but they actually teach this to kids now in daycare. So my kids learnt this at age 2 and 3 years old. And there are 2 reasons why they teach this. The first, the parents that are so stressed, that are unaware of connection with their kids, are actually making their kids emotionally, or they're damaging their kids emotionally. And secondly, they see the need for kids to learn emotional resilience and intelligence from that younger age. And so the increased rate of mental health challenges from kids growing up, it's crazy. And when I was learning this, Levi was like, oh yeah, Mum, that's like your amygdala and your central nervous system and your cerebellum. And I'm like, what? How do you know this? I feel so exposed right now. But basically, the hypothalamus is like a siren, like a fire alarm. And when the hypothalamus looks at our blood from our brain, it asks, is the body safe? Is what I'm sensing safe? And it senses all these stress hormones and adrenaline flooding our system, which historically would only happen in physical danger. But now it happens with perception. It happens with caffeine. It happens with worries and psychological stress, not so much physical stress. And our brain is consistently telling us, you are not okay. You are in danger, and you're in danger to yourself. And then this communicates to your pituitary gland, your thyroid, your ovaries to release the appropriate hormones to deal with your stress and that you're not okay. And it would be all right if this only happened for 3 hours a week, but it's all the time. Because never have we asked our bodies to live like this in history. We're doing so much as women, and we are so busy. And so our body is giving us feedback to our choices. Anxiety, obesity, insomnia, depression, digestive problems, menstrual problems. And just because we're capable of doing all these things and keeping busy doesn't mean it's necessarily helpful. And in fact, my body was screaming, slow down, actually screaming, stop, at one point, because biochemically we're not meant to keep up at this pace. And spiritually, God did not design that either. And so there is real and genuine life stress, absolutely. But there's a huge amount that we create for ourselves because of how we think. And that's the part we can change. So the question is, do you want to change that? Because it is really, really difficult to have plans and hopes for a future and no longer fear if we're so stressed and burnt out in our present or caught up thinking about our past. There's a beautiful verse in Romans that I'd love to share with you, and it's talking about the hope as Christians we can look forward to. Romans 8:24-28 says, "For in this hope we were saved. Now hope that is seen is not hope. For who hopes in what he sees? But if we hope for what we do not see, we wait for it with patience. Likewise, the Spirit helps us in our weakness. For we do not know what to pray for as we ought, but the Spirit himself intercedes for us with groanings too deep for words. And he who searches hearts knows what is in the mind of the Spirit, because the Spirit intercedes for the saints according to the will of God. And we know that for those who love God, all things work together for good, for those who are called according to his purpose." And I love this scripture because it specifically talks about all these wonderful things that I am naturally not, and I know that women are naturally not either. Patient, asking for help, allowing someone to intercede for us, someone who understands my mind and thought, working together as a team, and being purposeful. I want to share some seemingly hopeless situations that I've found myself in my life. I was diagnosed with 2 autoimmune diseases, and the first one being a thyroid disease, and second, a connective tissue condition which causes daily chronic pain called Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. And I was told, you won't have kids, you won't be able to walk, you're going to have a poor quality of life, and it will reduce your life expectancy. So I've already lived past that, so we're sweet. Another hopeless situation I found myself in was at 20, I was drugged and raped by someone I thought was a friend. And having to process and heal through that, forgive that person, and moving on in life. From that trauma, I didn't think I would get married, and I didn't think I would be able to, if I did get married, have a healthy marriage. I'm in a job where I'm constantly helping and serving others with their physical health challenges, while mine is a rare condition and research hasn't progressed. So I'm constant in this battle for pain relief or being put on trial medications, and it may or may not be able to work. I've been stuck in cycles of prideful arguments with my husband, thinking, did I make the right choice? Is this the right man for me? I've had struggles with getting pregnant. I've had a miscarriage and depression after that, and then struggled to bond with my second son. Body image issues. I've gone through people pleasing and lying for people's approval. Because I got to know God, though, and became a true Christian, I have been able to overcome, accept, and forgive in all of these situations. And part of being Christian for me was learning about deeper heart issues, like how do I believe I need people to see me, and how is that now changed by the comfort I have in God seeing me? Exploring my perception of pressure and urgency, and is that really helpful for my future, or is my perception really true? I had to learn how to delegate, see that it's biblical and necessary, and it's okay for people to help me. It doesn't mean that I'm incapable. I had to change my breathing even to help my anxiety and be comfortable with what I can't control. And I had to stop feeling guilty about looking after myself because I need to invest in myself. I learned that I don't need permission to be joyful, and for a long time, I didn't think I was allowed to be joyful. If we knew as women who we really truly were by God's standards, we would be in awe of ourselves and believe daily those scriptures that talk about being wonderfully made and us as rare jewels. I'm not saying that I don't feel fear or I don't have hopeless moments. That's part of the roller coaster of life. The difference is while on the roller coaster, if you imagine a roller coaster, I put the thing down, it's not just this spiraling out of control thing. It actually pauses before the, incline and the descent. And in those pauses, we can recalibrate. And instead of screaming with my eyes shut, I can take a deep breath, throw my hands up and be joyful. So what do you fear? Living in Sydney and the expense? Will I ever get married? Would anyone love me? Will I be able to have kids? I'm getting older. How am I going to get on top of my health? Or is this really what I want to do with my life till I retire? It's time to choose hope and address those fears. And it's time to get to know God, who can really help you through the stresses in your life. Because He's provided women here in this room to study the Bible with you, who genuinely want to get to know you, love and care about you. I just want to close by asking each of you to close your eyes and take 5 deep breaths. In for 4 seconds, hold for 4 seconds, and out for 4 seconds. The God that created breath and your lungs wants to help you when you feel constricted and are mentally, emotionally, and spiritually gasping for air. You can open your eyes when you feel you want to. Thank you so much for allowing me to speak with you this evening, and I would love to get to know as many of you as I can afterwards.